Hi, it's Danielle. Welcome to my perfume journal. How are you doing today? I am excited to share my latest perfume discoveries with you because all 10 perfumes that I sampled and tested this month were total winners. I liked every single one of them. So when I'm sampling perfumes, what I'll do is I'll start with a blotter test. And then if the perfume seems like it might be something I'd like to wear, I'll put it on my hand. And then if it passes the hand test, I will give it a full all-day wear. And because I liked all 10 of the perfumes that I sampled this month, what I did before making this video was put them all on blotters again at the exact same time, and then I went back to sniff them again after 24 hours. So I'm going to present all of these perfumes in order of longevity, just to shake things up a little bit. So let's get started. So first up is a perfume that Betty sent to me in a sample swap. It is La Mia Perla from La Perla. Oh, this is lovely. I should have guessed as soon as I smelled it that it was by Honorine Blanc because it has that soft, huggy, cozy quality that I associate with her perfumery. This perfume has that like fresh, powdery, creamy quality that I adore. It's like being wrapped in a fluffy white robe or a towel after a good hot shower. And the citrus in this opening is mandarin. And I think that mandarin is my favorite opening citrus note of all. It's like move over bergamot when mandarin is in the house. I just love the sweetness that mandarin adds to a bright opening in a perfume. There is definitely jasmine and iris here, and then there's a lovely brushed suede and musk. So this perfume graduated from blotter to hand, and the only reason I didn't end up wear testing this one yet is because it did fade off of my hand pretty quickly, but I still have quite a bit of the sample left. So I think what I'm going to do is like really douse myself in the entire sample and see how it wears with like a good old-fashioned overspray. I think that might be the trick to this perfume, but overall I thought this was really, really beautiful. Next, we have Flashback from Olfactive Studio. Now, this is a perfume I actually almost blind bought. I was on a kick of looking for apple perfumes that probably would not smell like shampoo, and I always have really good luck with perfumes from Olfactive Studio. So this definitely does not smell like shampoo. This perfume was crafted by Olivier Cresp, who also created Light Blue from Dolce & Gabbana. This is grapefruit and Granny Smith apple, just like in Light Blue, but this smells nothing like Light Blue. And that's because there is some sharp, pungent rhubarb here, and it all sits on a bed of musky vetiver. So this perfume takes the idea of a freshie and kind of flips it on its side. It's a really interesting perfume. All of the different accords are there, like individually, but also together, if that makes sense. It's green, it's woody, it's fresh, it's citrusy, it's tart, it's a little tiny bit sweet. And then when you get to the dry down of this perfume, it really leans into the musk and the vetiver with the crispness hanging around as like a whisper in the background. I ended up putting this one on my hand, but I didn't go on to a full wear test with this one. But I did think this was a really interesting take on a crisp, fresh scent that I enjoyed sampling very much. So next is Nuit Andalouse from MDCI, or it might actually be pronounced Medici, I'm not sure. So this brand, to me, creates perfumes in a very classic, almost vintage style, but updated for today's tastes. Their perfume Chypre Palatine, for example, is one of the very best modern day Chypres with a strong nod to the Chypre perfumes of yesteryear. It is magnificent. And similarly, their perfume Invasion Barbare is an updated fougere that is of absolutely superb quality. And the perfumes come in these very elegant bottles on their own, but you can also opt for these like crazy bust caps if you really want to go like all out with the Italian Medici family kind of vibe. So anyway, Nuit Andalouse is a very classic floral perfume composition. It's by Cecile Zarokian, who did, I think, quite a few perfumes for this brand. It has rose, ylang ylang, gardenia, violet, a very classic floral composition. There's a bit of green up top and then again, very classic sandalwood, vanilla, musky base. It's really like a very pleasant, soft, friendly floral perfume. And I would say that there's like a through line in all of the MDCI perfumes that I've tried so far. I'm not sure if it's like the ingredients they use or what it is, but it is super recognizable. It's very much like a signature kind of DNA. The best way that I can describe it is like a definitive Italian twist on classic French perfumery. I don't know, like in geometric terms, maybe if French perfumes were represented by, say, like scalloped edges, Italian perfumes are clean, straight lines. And that's exactly how these perfumes come across to me. They are extremely high quality perfumes. The bottles with the bust toppers go for like $400 on a discount site. So I am going to enjoy this little sample of Nuit Andalouse until it runs out, and then it will be a fond memory of a very, very good luxury perfume that I got to try. Okay, so the next 4 samples are the ones that were still very noticeable on the blotter after 24 hours, but they were kind of like a ghost of themselves at that point, but you could still smell them. So the first one that I have, I talked about a little bit last month. It's Equistrius from Parfum d'Empire, and I had been really, really curious about this brand after seeing some of my most trusted nose pals talking about certain perfumes from this line that they enjoyed and even added to their collections. And lo and behold, a little sample showed up from my scented soul sister, Jill. So I was thrilled, thrilled, thrilled to be able to give this one a try. This is gorgeous, incredible, so high quality, absolutely wonderful in every way. So I was not a horse girl growing up, but as an animal lover, I feel an affinity with people who have this beautiful nostalgia for growing up around horses. Whether they rode horses or grew up on farms, they always talk about how horses are such incredible animals. I am fascinated by their personalities and the ways in which certain people can break through the challenging or like aloof characteristics of horses and then develop these strong and loyal lifelong relationships with these magnificent animals. And in the world of horses, people also talk a lot about the nostalgia of the sense of horses and their surroundings. And that has definitely transcended into perfumery. On the designer end, we have Hermes paying homage to horses in like so many of their scents. And then on the niche side, we have brands like Maison d'Eau, whose entire brand is themed around the equestrian world. So the description of Equistrius on the Parfum d'Empire website is simply the horse's breath. Now, do not be turned off by that. I have never smelled horse's breath, but I think that this is like an exquisitely beautiful representation of all the things that I think people who love horses hold dear about the smell of a horse. This perfume is essentially a blend of sweet muskiness, dry powderiness, and like supple suede. There's violet, as if the horse's entire diet was made up of sweet violet petals and leaves. It has like a slightly green vegetal quality to it. There's some lovely dry cocoa. There's ambrette and ambergris, which gives that musky saltiness to the perfume. And then there is this gorgeous creamy orris butter and sandalwood. It is so artfully done. It is powerful, but also gentle, just like a horse can be. And this one went from blotter to hand to full wear in like one day. And it is teetering on ending up on my wish list. It's that beautiful. So thank you, Jill, for giving me the chance to smell Equistrius. I loved it. And while we are on the horse theme, I also gave Violette Volynka from Hermes a full wear this month after sampling it on the blotter and then on my hand. And this is unbelievably classy. It is true Hermes style. It is some excellent work from Christine Nagel. It's violets and leather. That's what this is. And I think it's an outstanding example of how simplicity and elegance in a perfume composition can be so effective and so memorable. There's this like effortless ebb and flow between the delicate sweet violet and then the luxurious leather, but neither one outshines the other. They just like complement each other in this really surprising way. Like you might expect the leather to just totally dominate the violet once you hit the dry down, but it never ever happens. The violets, they stand their ground and they just emanate this sweet powderiness into that brushed, supple leather that is just so refined and so stylish. And I have to say, when Hermes does it right, they really, really do it right. And the third perfume in this group of four that held their own for a 24-hour period is Clair de Musc from Serge Lutens. So interestingly, I absolutely hated this perfume when I first sprayed it. I thought it was astringent, pungent, almost like acidic, the complete opposite of what I expected from a perfume that's basically a white musk. But it is in the dry down that the magic of this perfume like unfolds. This is a very cold musk. It's not a warm one, but it does have a little bit of an animalic undertone, nothing filthy or sweaty, but just, it was kind of like the smell of skin after you've been like shoveling snow or doing something outside in the cold. I was reminded a little bit of the Body Shop's white musk oil with this one, but like less oily and more dry and crisp. This perfume came out in 2003. It's by Christopher Sheldrake. And I would say that this is probably a front runner in the like your skin but better kind of profile that took off in the 2010s. But like instead of ambroxan, you have this clean white musk as the hero note. I did not end up wearing this one, but I'm glad I didn't write it off after that first 20 minutes because once I got through the roughness of that opening, I was left with a very nostalgic and well done cold white musk perfume. Okay, so this is a perfume that I had come across when I was on an ambrette kick. This is Aqua Amantia from Le Couvent, and this is an affordable gem. It's by Amélie Bourgeois and the watercolor painter of perfume, Jean-Claude Ellena. This is so good. I loved this one instantly, and even more so after I hand tested it. And the only reason I haven't given it a full wear test yet is because it's a spring-summer style perfume, and it's one that I'm just going to scoop up as soon as the weather warms up. And once again, I have Jill to thank for introducing me to this one. It's so good. I can already see that this is going to become my go-to summer perfume of 2026. This one just like clicked with me instantly. So this is rhubarb, grapefruit, ambrette, and cedar. That is it. And you basically have the rhubarb and the grapefruit on like one side of a seesaw, bringing this like crisp, mouth-puckering tartness to the perfume. And then on the other side, you have the ambrette and the cedar, providing some balance to the very zesty heart of this perfume. This is fresh, but not refreshing, if that makes any sense. It's like deliciously summery. It reminds me just a little bit of Lost in the City from Miller Harris. Dare I say better, because it's less green and less watery, but more in that vein of Hermes's rhubarb perfume. It's like this tart, zingy delight. I love this one, and it will definitely be joining my collection this summer. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the final perfumes that were still going strong on the blotters well over 24 hours after I sprayed them to refresh myself to prepare for this video. So first up is Meraki from Botanicae Expressions. This was another surprise sample from Jill and a brand I had never ever tried before. And this is delicious. This is like a mixed berry and fig jam. It's very natural smelling, so it's like not overly sweet. It's not cloying, but it's still super yummy. It's mostly strawberry, blackcurrant, and fig. And then there's some iris and some violet that lends like a light powderiness here. And then a very gentle base of sandalwood, patchouli, and vanilla that are really just there to like amplify the fruits. Even in the dry down, it's really the fruits that stand out. And the question I kept asking myself as I smelled this is, would I call this a gourmand or a fruity floral? And after going back to this scent for dozens and dozens of sniffs, I finally landed on it's a fruity floral for me. The fruits in here smell very natural, but not like edible. They hint at a fruit jam or a fruit compote without being too literal. And then the violet really stands out as a complementary floral to the fruits. It's really nice. I think the bottle is super classy. And the price point of these perfumes is around $120 for 100 ml, which I think is pretty good for a nice niche perfume these days, especially one that doesn't smell like tar and burnt rubber. So this one definitely goes on the thumbs up list for me. Okay, so this is a perfume I was not expecting to like because I haven't really found anything from this brand that works for me, but I did end up enjoying this one. So this is Blood Spider Orchids from Regime de Fleurs. It didn't go all the way to a hand test or a wear test for me, but I was still pleasantly surprised with this one. This is basically a spicy sweet floral in kind of like a modern vintage style. So all orchids in perfumery are fantasy notes. Anytime there's a scent of an orchid created in perfume, it's completely invented. And I'm guessing that the perfumer, Alia Raza, was aiming to represent these beautiful blood spider orchids in scented form. And I would say that if that was the aim, this perfume is definitely a success. This is deeply, deeply spicy. Mostly what I get from this perfume is cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg. But it doesn't go like kitchen spice because there is very clearly a nice thick dose of jasmine in this that gives the effect of what you would expect a blood spider orchid might smell like. And there are some other lovely notes listed in here. There's frankincense, patchouli, tonka, benzoin. But for me, the spices and the jasmine are so prominent that I'm not really picking up on the other notes. And the copy of this perfume mentions like a vampy, moody vibe. I'm not certain that this composition totally achieves that, but what it does achieve is still very good in the way that a blood spider orchid is kind of delicate looking. This perfume is not heavy-handed. It doesn't go into like knock you over territory as spicy florals can sometimes do. So this was a nice surprise. Blood spider orchids. And finally, the longest lasting of the perfumes that I sampled this month, holding on strong long after 24 hours and notably smelling completely different from its opening and its mid, the wonderful Lilith from Puente. This is a perfume from their Blue Label line, and it was shared with me by the wonderful Ivette, who has passed along a number of excellent samples for me to try, and I'm so, so, so grateful for that. Thank you, Ivette. So might even now be 3 years ago, another perfume pal of mine sent me a sample of Puente's Iris Dew, and when I tell you that that perfume made me weak in the knees, I am not exaggerating. Puente is an independent brand out of Spain, and to my knowledge, Elian Puente is a self-taught perfumer, and he is creating some of the finest perfumes I have smelled in the last decade. The quality of his materials is exceptional, and his craftsmanship in building his compositions is first class all the way. On his website, he says that he creates fragrances that feel like old souls reincarnated into the modern world. And I would say that that is exactly what he is accomplishing, and probably a major reason why I enjoy his work so much. The Orris in Iris Dew is so good. It could make you cry. And it is highlighted in a way that only a perfumer who really respects the materials he's working with can do. Okay, but Lilith takes you on a whole trip that you have to like buckle in for the ride. Smelling through this perfume was like, you know when Violet Beauregard pops that like prototype gum in her mouth and she chews through several courses of a meal? That is what smelling Lilith was like. So phase one is the wake up. At first, I thought there might be galbanum in this because it felt kind of green and grassy to me, but the more deeply I inhaled it, I think what I was picking up on was the ginger. It's bright and spicy and exhilarating, and that's exactly how it opens up. Then it morphs into this floral, soft, spicy rose. The spice here is cinnamon, and that just kind of lingers around in the background until the very end of the wear. And then once you get to the dry down, it's this salty, sweaty, sweetly musky, woody dry down with just a touch of leather. And I find it so fascinating that a perfumer can build a composition that morphs and changes so much throughout the life of the wear. It is like pure magic, pure alchemy. And then on top of that, with these perfumes, you have materials of unquestionably high quality, and you really have to have a natural given talent to be able to make perfumes like this. So while Iris Dew remains my very favorite of all of the Puente perfumes I've tried so far, Lilith is undeniably a superb perfume. So I am very happy to end on this wonderful creation of all the perfumes I've sampled over the course of the month. I'm like George Costanza going out on a high note. Okay, so these were the 10 perfumes that I discovered during the month. What a wonderful month of sampling this was. And I know I have said this before, but I really want to underscore that sampling for me does not have to and rarely ends up in buying. The joy of being a perfume enthusiast is often just in the smelling of new things, the exploration, the study, the discovery, the appreciation. And if you think about it, I have at least 1 ml of everything I shared today, which in total is a travel size, but a travel size of great variety and definitely great fun. I hope you enjoyed hearing about these perfumes. I really enjoyed talking about them today. I would love to know if you've tried any of these and what you thought about them. I really appreciate you being here and watching my videos, and I love chatting perfumes with all of you in the comments. So thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.